Yes.
So it's very easy to find. There's a big parking lot behind the church and on the street parking also.
Yes.
So it is easy to find the church. And I'm assuming it's open to the public.
Oh, definitely open to the public. Everyone is welcome. It is a free program. We do lift a love offering at the end if people choose to give, and I want them to know that none of the money that is given will be used for the program. We use this money because we're going to give a scholarship.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Now, this program has gone on for how many years at Central?
You know, it's been over 25
Okay.
years. We started it in 1985.
Okay.
Yes, we missed a couple of years along the way, but 1985.
And I guess, why did Central want to do a program like this?
Well, we felt that at that time the pastor was Jim Baker, and he had spoken to me about Martin Luther King. At that time, there was a lot of controversy about him and whether or not we would have a holiday. And this is a church that believes in the people, the community. So perhaps we should do something to commemorate this man. He really changed the moral fabric, I think, of the
Right.
United States and this whole color thing. And I often remember there was a gentleman in our church, Everett Jackson, who you'll hear a little bit about later, but he used to say, "What is the most segregated hour in the week?" And he would say 11 o'clock. That's church time. And I mean, things are very polarized in the community, and was more so then, you know, quite a division between cultures, colors, religions. So we thought, let's do something to honor this man, to show that we can do it together. And it's just evolved over the years. At first it was ecumenical, and there were several churches who went together in the planning of it. But now it's just come to be Central, and we always hold it the same church, so people would know.
Now, Kelly, I'm quite sure you're involved in this somewhat.
Not a lot. I have discussed with Donna a little bit more, trying to get some of the younger people involved. We're not sure what their role is going to be at this point, but we're still working on it. We've got, another couple weeks.
Yeah. Now, now that's something, I'm assuming through your role as Director of Christian Education, that probably is a topic that comes up as far as with the youth.
Yes. We've actually talked about being involved in everything that the church does.
Okay.
As I discussed on a previous show,
Right.
that I believe that the youth need to be involved everywhere, even if it's as much as they can.
Okay.
Even if it's a small amount. So I've been discussing with Donna a little bit more, trying to see where they fit into the plan.
I think it's important because young people don't realize, and I'm not sure as far as when the people are going to school, how much anymore they go back to everything that occurred with Martin Luther King and how important that his role in our daily lives and what he did for us, as far as, I guess the freedoms and everything that, a lot of things occurred because of him, and he was very outspoken and definitely willing to be involved, which, sometimes I wonder, you don't see a lot of that anymore. He was the forefront of someone who took a stand and went out and actually made sure that everybody knew his beliefs, and he developed a following, and we don't really see that anymore. And it's, sometimes I wonder why, because, there are causes out there, but people don't stand up whether they feel threatened. And we know that he was threatened, received numerous threats to his life and everything, and yet, like through the thing we read, he prayed to God and realized that, hey, I can't give up and walk away from it. It's something I have to continue. So I think it's very important that we realize, and I think our youth need to realize, that there are people like Martin Luther King who did something for our country and has made our country a better place because of it.
Who have sacrificed and sacrificed
Right.
and with their very life.
Right.
Yes.
It's very important. I mean, we just don't see that this day and age. So it's one of those things that you have to reinforce to the youth so they understand, and hopefully someday one of them may stand up for a cause and go forward. It's, I guess, the goal. We have to look at our youth are going to be the leaders of our country, and I think sometimes, I mean, I guess I can look at it and say, you look at what's happened this past weekend for Congress and all the bickering and everything, and the American people were wondering actually what was going to happen, and finally something gets resolved. But we are in a system where politics plays a big role of everything, and yet we vote the people in, and we don't really get a say. I mean, it's quote unquote a few people who run everything, and I don't know if they look at what our beliefs are and how we feel. So I think it's important that we really play up something like this and get the word out that, hey, this is part of our life, and we need to reinforce it and make people understand what happened. So I think it is definitely a good thing, and it's too bad that more churches aren't willing to do a service like this and get the word out. So I think that's really great that Central can do this.
Yes.
So, and I know Donna has done a lot of this over the years. So I mean, I think Central is very appreciative of the fact that you've been willing to stand up and help do this. So it's a great thing.
Thank you. Thank you. It is an honor. It is a pleasure. Sometimes it gets a little bit difficult, but I really want people to realize on whose shoulders they have stood and why we have the freedoms we do. This is such a wonderful country, especially in that we have the freedom to worship or not to worship. We can object, and that's something that a lot of countries don't have. And it's wonderful to feel good. It's wonderful to not have fear, to be able to walk down the street and not have to ask, to be able to go to a restaurant, sit down, enjoy your meal.
Right.
And I've seen the other side of that, so I'm telling a little about my age now. But yes.
I kind of want to flip it a little bit. Central's had this camp, Everett Jackson Camp. I remember as a member of Central United Methodist a long time ago that Everett Jackson pushed to have this camp at Sky Lake, and maybe, I don't know if Kelly wants to talk a little bit about it, or?
Well, last March we had a celebration, a service celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Lukens Jackson Camp, which is held currently at Sky Lake. Donna can probably help me out a little bit. I'm not as familiar with all the details for it. I mean, for years and years, since 1972, we had two members of our church. Let's see, we have Everett Jackson, who was a black man, and he felt in his heart that he needed to do something. He was assisted by Reverend Bob Lukens, and together they put together a program. Maybe Donna can help me out. How did they go forward as far as putting together something where children from all walks of life?
Yes. Well, it was something new. It really was. For this area and for many areas, they got together and felt that there needed to be something for the children, to bring children from different socioeconomic levels and for different financial backgrounds, from different races. And at that point, they really made a purpose to try to get half of the children African American and half of the children who were Caucasian, put them together in a family style environment at camp. And we used to have sleepover camp for 1 week, Sunday to Friday or Saturday. And then we would have day camp, where the day campers, who were the younger children, would go out, would leave on buses in the morning, go out to camp, spend the day, come back home and sleep at home at night. To get this all organized was a huge project. We had what we call family friends, mainly through Central, but as you said yourself, Dave, you and your wife were family friends who befriended the parent or parents of these children who were going to camp to see that they had everything to meet. You know, there are a lot of guidelines, health-wise, federal-wise, state-wise, to be in that camp, that they would get their physicals if they needed inoculations, whatever they needed to fill the application process to go. And then there was the other side of it. I mean, you're talking about a lot of children who live in the city. There were the sleeping bags, the toiletries, the clothing, whatever they needed to go to camp. The family friend would work with the family to make sure they got it. And then also the culmination of this family friend would see that the child got to camp, whether they took them in their personal vehicle or whatever. And then we eventually got a bus that would leave from 2 locations, one in Endicott, one in Binghamton. And the kids and all of their belongings would get on the bus and go to camp for a week. And when it came back, their family friend would be there waiting for them to take them back to their home environment. And it was amazing because you could see the fear and a lot of children's faces, and I think some of the adults going into it and then coming back out. The smiles and the tears was just overwhelming.
A total transformation.
Total transformation. And you know, we tried to show them, you know, the beauty of God's world. Not only in the physical environment there, that's just gorgeous at Sky Lake, you know, but also in each other. And the staff or the volunteers there were of mixed races, both the sleepover camp and the day camp. Then we had reunions twice a year where we'd bring everybody back together and we would do some activity or whatever and come back to the church and have a reception. So it's been a wonderful
bringing
program.
together people that otherwise would never have a chance to meet.
You're right. Absolutely right. And children, because it went right across the school districts. Yes, it's wonderful.
That's great. I guess as we're about running out of time, I just want to, maybe if we can bring up on the screen about the Martin Luther King service. It's going to be Sunday the 13th at 3 o'clock at Central United Methodist Church. And like I said, it's on Nanticoke Avenue, kitty corner from the cider mill. Greg Johnson, the pastor of Cornerstone Community Church, Reverend Mark Marino, pastor of Central, will be having a conversation. There'll be lots of singing, and there will be candle lighting after the inside service, and they actually go out around the church.
No, around the inside of the church, the pews,
and then, reception where conversation can carry on.
Yes.
So, anybody and everybody's welcome to attend, and we encourage you to go down there at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And I'd like to thank both of you for coming today and sharing about this celebration, because it's very important that the word get out and as many people as can attend, because I know it's a great service. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you for
You're welcome,
inviting us.
and thank you. We really appreciate your attention to this.